Greetings everyone, Angrade here with another Advanced Wars Day Zero and Tiny Wars replay. Small on bottom left side as the red Isabella. We got Izanagi007, probably butchered that name well enough. Small on top right side as dark gray Lynn, we have EvilAnge. Of course, when it comes to the COs, Isabella's of course nerfed from the cartridge counterpart, has standard boarding cost, 2 radius, 30, 60, 60. All units get plus 20, plus 10, and of course for superpower get plus 2 movement range and plus 1 indirect range. Isabella of course is unchanged, the cartridge counterpart, has standard boarding cost, 1 radius, 30, 60, 60. All units get plus 10, plus 10, all ground units get additional plus 20, plus 20. And of course for superpower get plus 2 vision and see through hiding places. So superpower is not super important in non-fog of war, but still very nice to have that effect global. It's probably best for not to activate her superpower since she has 1 radius, and that can allow her to push the flank quite just generally better. But of course, she wants to push the entire field at once. Not a bad idea, or maybe pop it before you drop it. Gorgeous infantry opens for both sides. This is a 3 base map, 1 airport. It has a strong side, weak side mechanic. There's also a pair of comm towers, but they're not really contestable. If you lose it, you probably already lost the game. Bike infantry. Double bike and infantry there. And bikes heading up north, bike gave double infantry, so split up bikes on both sides. Of course, Isabella or Lynn does have 9,000 funds this turn, but does go for bike. And infantry bike once again. Has 10,000 income, 2,500 left over, so she could go for tank and double infantry. Isabella now has up to 12,000 income, 9,500 bank. So she goes for a tank, it will be a base skip. Artillery and double infantry. Bike, and tank. Artillery advancing way forward, of course. What else is it supposed to do? You can always head down south and hide away in the corner. Tank and double infantry. So we've got a tank to counter the tank on the south side. And tank and bike are heading down south. Got another tank on the strong side. Tank, and infantry, so nice split of tanks. Does have 2 tanks, counter 2 tanks, but of course has a tank on her own strong side now. Lynn could seal one of those tanks there. Isabella could do the same thing as well with this tank here. Tank once again, and a split of tanks and infantry. 18,000 for 16,000, so we could see a medium tank per turn if she so chooses, which may not be bad on the weak side. Some heavy armor to help blunt the assault of tanks. But with that, you probably still want to tank infantry on the other side. So in order to get that, 12,000 plus 7,000 plus effectively 20,000 income per turn is the ideal for that, or maybe some extra monies left over to pass over per turn. But either way, got another split of tanks. This tank has been CO'd. A couple of early picks there. Of course, it will be picked on off. Which reminds me, there was a bug apparently since their server got reset where it captures up and down the capture progress. I see capture progress 10, which may be a little bit cut off based on how I have the stream set up to clean our dead space. But I still does not mean it has captured up or down. And it says 0 in neutral city, so maybe captures up still. Guess we'll find out soon enough here. Artillery range of a 7th health infantry does pick off that said 7th health infantry. Can now still be struck by potentially a bike here. Nope, looks the bike's out of range. The bike is in range, and 3 health infantry as well. So that artillery could get peppered up a little bit. Isabella does get nice early 14 energies. Goes for anti-air, tank, and infantry. Lynn has her CO tank hitting down south. Oh, sacks that squad there, which does manage to interrupt the capture. Takes out that capturing squad as well. $20,000 for 21,000 income so far, so still pretty even. Picks up 7 health infantry, does get a nice bit of power charge there. 31 energy, +1 radius, though that tank is in range of another tank. But it looks like only in range of 1 tank at the moment, so could get hit, but would be. It is covered by this artillery there, so attacking tank won't go that great. You have a medium tank, battlecopter, infantry, and commits a base skip. Interrupts the capture. Got a battlecopter in return, bike, and artillery. Isabella gets 8 energy. And now I'll be threatening the comm tower there. It can be interrupted, but will be a painful sack. Battlecopter probably needs to head over here and start intercepting. Another battlecopter probably wouldn't be half bad as well, with a number of tanks nearby with a lack of anti-air. In fact, Lynn has only a single battlecopter for anti-battlecopter, which is not going to be great if Isabella does pull out some more battlecopters. So I think it would be a good idea. Interrupts the capture. Battlecopter tank on the weak side. Bike and infantry on the strong side. Could have gone for double bike, decides just to go for bike infantry. Skimped out a little bit. Catch the column tower down to 2 or 18 capture progress, so it's counting up 2 more and it will be secured, which is quite doable. And there's only 1 surface area, so we have to do at least 7 points of damage onto this infantry to interrupt the capture. Nope, something exploded. I think a couple units got deleted. Wasn't paying attention where. Battlecopter, bike, medium tank, and infantry. Isabella has 44 energy. Starts capturing at the column tower herself now. Tank does strike tank, 91 energy. Oh, there's an infantry unit in range. Stops the capture. Battlecopter ruffling over to the right. Medium tank does strike the command tank. It does have quite a bit extra defense to work with. I wonder if they actually fix the defense values not shrinking, growing as the unit starts taking damage. My apologies for my drink open up. That may have been a little bit too loud, seeing as I can now see that's right next to the microphone. I didn't realize it was going to make a hissing sound. My apologies. Looks like Isabella may will capture the comm tower next turn. Lynn's starting to capture this comm tower as well. There's also a decent amount of properties still despicably neutral up here. See 4 properties in which Lynn's going to get Isabella's going to get a quadruple capture next turn, which one includes the comm tower. So she does capture the comm tower first. Does not get any power charge there. Should have enough targets nearby to get the superpower though. In terms of capture, of course. infantry, there's no counter to the battlecopters over here. So the battlecopters going to just clean sweep this region until our anti-airs get down south. Got a nice little sortie of battlecopters up here, but we do have a single anti-air for our anti-air protection. A second one on the way. Superpower now available. Isabella feels like in a pretty good position next turn. And I mentioned, like I said, the battlecopters here are just uncontested. Falls back, bit of a join there. Yeah, Lin has to abandon this whole flank because there's just simply no counter to the battlecopters down here. Anti-air tank, it may have been a good idea to go for double anti-air at this point. Some of these battlecopters may want to migrate down south as well. Medium tank on the HQ. Might as well pulse 1 maximum indirect range, so avoid the artillery, give it a little extra room. Isabella right now is 26,000 content versus 24. This appears to be the prophet that's only the prophet remaining off the field that is despicably neutral. Battlecopters have no need to fear. And looks like Isabella's doing a bit of a front switch. Head down south, maybe try to push forward over here to lock and circle and clean these guys up. Then go for the bases. We'll need some bikes up here. Does have a T-copter, now a bomber. T-copter would be nice to help get infantry units over here. But we've got bomber, double infantry, and bike. I was not expecting a bomber. She does have 28,000 income for 23. Lin's at 28 energy, pretty close to +1 radius. Anti-air tank. And another tank. Bomber advancing. Free pick of the infantry unit there. It's like getting a free pawn in chess. Pretty much. I don't know why that analogy just always just sounds too correct. Battlecopter, tank, and bike. And looks like the front lines are being established. It's going to be a bit of a stalemate. Right now, the number of battlecopters in the field probably wouldn't be half bad for the players to start going for a handful of dusters. Dusters will be a discounted way to help deal with the bomber while at it. Missiles could be used to zone out your opponent. We got a missile. The missile Nora's at for no where it's not. Bomber heading up north. Oh, and Isabella still has both comm towers, which is quite important to say the least. Another bomber, anti-air infantry, and infantry. At this point in time, a full fighter's probably going to be needed, if not just a sortie of dusters. Dusters may have been trouble versus tanks, but at least they do some damage and decent work versus infantry. And of course, Isabella does affect all units, not just ground units with +2 in the range for superpower, so that can help range a missile no problem. Anti-air, Duster, Infantry, and commits a base skip. Lynn's at 21,000 versus 31,000 income, so it's quite a massive difference. The longer the game's on, the better Isabella will be off. She has a superpower primed, and a lot of heavy assets being put on the field. And I think bombers are heavier than tanks. How heavy is the B-52? I'm assuming the bombers generally seems like it's just off based off of the B-52. B-52 is pretty heavy, isn't it? I'll Google that while the replay's in autoplay and the stalemate's just still happening. The B-52 is 185,000 pounds, or 83,000 kilograms. Yeah, that's more than twice the weight of the Abrams. I think that's close. That's over 3 times the weight of Abrams. Yeah, but let's just say this bomber is effectively the same weight as a full squadron of medium tanks. And it flies. Then again, the medium tank is basically Abrams, Leopards, and other tanks like that, so would probably be a half health medium tank. Still, that's pretty heavy. And it's probably the not including the cargo. Is there an indication how much cargo it can carry? It has a maximum takeoff weight of 488,000 pounds. Yeah. Yeah. Nope. They got the superpower there. Let's take a look. Infantry's starting getting hit. Anti-air and bomber does get a good strike. If it's the HQ, he could start catching up the HQ if possible. That may not be easy. Nope. He does occupy with the tank. Northern flank is completely overrun, and I think Isabella's a game in the bag with that. I do not think Lynn could stop all of this. She does have +1 CO zone range, but that's way down here. Lynn, and it looks like Isabella's just keeping her distance away from Isabella's or Lynn's radius. Not to mention there's still an anti-air here. The bomber could get a first strike in the anti-air. Battlecopter, tank, infantry, and war tank. Tank does get double tapped there. Lynn's CO tank's circling up north. The HQ is not currently being captured, so Isabella does have a bit of time to respond to all of this. But right now she has 18,000 income versus 34,000 income. Problem is, she's charging over to the northern flank, but she is not keeping her distance, so she can easily just counterattack next turn. So yeah, I think the game is effectively over in favor of Isabella, because right now these units are in range of these units, and Isabella will get the first strike on all these units. I mentioned she probably get her superpower charged up in once again this turn. Not necessarily will be able to deploy it, when she move her CO tank first. Does get 30 energy, get +1 radius there. War tank gets bombed and knocked out by a tank. Medium tank gets struck there and there. Send an infantry unit to start capturing the HQ. Picks off another unit there. Yeah, it has 60 energy. There's about at least 70 to 80 energy gathered that turn. Dog power on the HQ. War tank, anti-tank, and bike. A bunch of slow stuff. They're not getting the front line anytime soon. I don't think regular tanks will get to the front line in time. Does take out one of the battle copters there. Does hit the battle copter. Hits the bike there. But I don't think Lin will be able to range the infantry unit on top of the HQ this turn. Tank, infantry, tank, and just capture HQ and win. Pop superpower, just going to go for one last hurrah. Does bomb the missile there. But yeah, the B-52 is a massive bomber to say the least. Total maximum takeoff weight is 219 kilograms, 100,000 kilograms I should say. And its desired payload is 70,000 pounds or 31,000 kilograms. By the way, looks like a lot of these units are starting to be cleaned on up. Managed to knock the Lin down to 27,000 before winning the game. Don't move those units, just capture. And that is game. This is Angrade saying thank you for watching, and on to the next replay.